I'm Aiman, and welcome back to another auto repair video. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to install the alternator on 2013 to 2014 Honda CR-V, which also apparently applies to 2011 to 2016. Okay, so this is the old alternator that we took out in the last video. Go check that out if you're interested. And here is the new one. Some of the old hardware that you're going to need from the previous installation are these from the previous alternator, are these three bolts. These two bottom bolts, and this one big bolt, this long bolt that goes on the top. There's also going to be a cable already inside there, and another power cable inside there, as well as a bracket piece, an L-shaped bracket piece that goes on here. Okay, and so the new alternator that we have is actually a remanufactured alternator. This is a genuine Honda alternator, and a remanufactured one just means that it's genuine, but they refurbished it. Compare this to a generic one, which is another brand made an off-brand one that's not legit. And so if you buy a new one, it's probably about $570. If you buy it from the dealer, $570 online. If you buy it from the dealer, it's probably $600. The remanufactured one costs about $200. And if you buy a generic one, it's about $170. I recommend that you get the remanufactured one. As I was saying, I recommend you get the remanufactured one because it has at least where we got it from AutoZone, it has a lifetime warranty. So if this breaks, within a year or two or three, we can just bring it back to AutoZone and get it back for free. And I think this is totally a better option than getting it genuine because $600 versus $200, so much cheaper. And with a generic one, if that one breaks, you might not be able to replace it. So this one's probably just the best option out of the three. Without further ado, we're going to replace it right now. So let's take off all the stickers. Okay. Let's see. Some units may require use of original fan and pulley. Okay. We're not going to worry about that for now. So first thing we need to do is we need to get this entire unit back into the space that it was previously occupying. So let's try that. We're going to lift it up. Remember, the pulley goes on the passenger side. We're going to fit it in between the hose and this cable. And we're going to push it down. At this point, you're going to want to, notice this cable right here. You're going to want to aim that through this little nook here. Can you see it? Yes. As you push this down, and as you push it down, you want to angle it so that the two bottom bolts are on the bottom. So you want to flip this over. Hold on. And it actually looks like it will be easier if you just let the alternator fall all the way down. And this space has a lot of room for you to rotate the alternator. Okay? And so now what you want to do is you want to find where this alternator rests. Oh, actually, before we try to rest it, we're going to connect all the other wires to it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out this bolt here that's attached to it and attach the power cable. Is this 9 or 10? This is the 10 one. Okay. All right, so you might want to plan in advance for this. You could take out the nut earlier to save yourself a bit of a headache. Okay. And while we're here, I'll tell you guys right now, hopefully you didn't already put this in. Take out that nut for the power cable, but also take out this nut for the bracket that we're going to install. This way you don't lose it in the engine if it falls. hello. Oh, pause. Okay, so no wonder the nut actually broke. You can see that freely spins inside of here. And so, you know, sometimes that happens. But instead we're going to use the old nut. I'll just have to remember not to tighten it too tightly, or I guess maybe the same thing will happen to this one, but hopefully not. Anyway, what we want to do now is we want to take the wire down there and we want to guide it into the respective positions, the bracket here and the cable connector here. And so let's reach and grab that wire. You might have to pull this out to grab it. Okay, so you can see the bracket goes here. It's supposed to, it has a little like, it's hard to describe, but you can see one side of it is rounded. And that rounded side is what goes into this nook. Okay. And so we're going to temporarily put that on. But first, we're going to put on the end of this cable. So you can see the cable has a hole in it. It's supposed to go around this post. So you want to peel back this cap. Can you hold this? You want to peel back this cap. And you can see there's a little hook on it that's supposed to align with this indent here in the hole. You want to push it down, and while it's down there, you want to take the nut, which also might be broken. Huh? Maybe this is just supposed to be a washer? I'm just going to use the old one just in case. Alright, so on second thought, these aren't actually broken. It's just designed that way. It's, you know, this is like the washer is integrated into the nut. Okay, so we'll continue using this one. The old one's already on there anyway. Or actually, it's not on there already, so we should be good. So we're going to put this on by hand first. Okay, and so it's on there. Before I fully tighten it, I'm going to put in the other nut. This might be a bit hard for you guys to see, but we're going to insert the bracket and insert the nut. Just like so. Okay, so from this point, you're going to want to tighten them. I'm not sure how good of a camera angle that's going to be, so I'm just going to do it. For this one, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what torque it is because it's a very tiny bolt. So you should just go for snug. So, righty tight. Let's see if I can. Hopefully that's the guy that usually comes, the UPS guy. Okay. All right, snug. Not too tight. It's not structural. So this one is tight enough, and so is this one. Both of them are snug. Now I can put the cover back on. And now we can position the alternator so that we can insert the bolts. Okay, so now what you want to do is angle the alternator. Remember, this bolt here, this cylinder here interfaces with that hole. Can't see it. Yeah, that hole right here. And if you took it out, then you know what I'm talking about. This is the place where it came out of. And you'll notice that when you position it, the alternator should rest on some sort of lip. Yes, like that. And so right now it's just resting there. To keep it there, we're going to take the super long bolt and insert it into the hole and tighten it a few. Okay, we're not going to go all the way. We can do that later when we tighten it, but this should be good enough for when we insert the bottom bolts. So the bottom bolts are probably going to be the hardest bolts because you're kind of going in the dark with them. If you have the bottom shield taken out, then you can try from the bottom. In our case, the bottom is not going to work quite well for us, but that's okay because, you know, the nice thing about our hands is we have hand-eye coordination, or like you can feel around for the hole and just insert the bolts. Okay, and so as you do this, it's probably best to do one bolt at a time so that you can use the other hand to jiggle the alternator around to actually get the bolt to interface with the threads. Come on. I know you got it. Oh, there we go. All right, so one of my bolts is in. And you can't see on camera, so I'm just gonna move on to the other bolt. This one's gonna be a bit harder just because, you know, it's also a bit of a worse angle. If you have small hands like me, then more power to you because it should be easier to insert it. Okay, and same thing on the right side. I have it inserted. It's actually kind of squeaky. Okay. All right, so we're gonna tighten it from the top. We're not entirely sure what the torque is, but we're gonna go for snug and then a bit of an 1/8 to a 1/4 turn. Okay, and so okay, and we can make more adjustments later, but we're going to go for the bottom bolts. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get my Milwaukee there, so we're going to need a wobble socket and a regular ratchet wrench. You want to fix them on just like this, and this gives you just the right angle to be able to reach the bolts and tighten them within that confined space. Okay, so we're going to speed this up. All right, so now, sorry, I'm out of breath. Now it's almost tightened. Last step we need to do is to give it a 1/8 to a 1/4 turn. So first on this one. Okay, 1/8 turn. All right, should be good on the right side. Now we need to do the same thing on the left side. Okay. Okay, let's tighten it a bit more. Well, they can cut. All right. Yeah, a bit of a harder angle. Oh, hey. Thanks. Good to see you. Alright, so all the bolts are snug. What we're going to do now is we're going to put this cable back on. Now, if you watch our last video, you'll notice that we broke it. So we're going to put it back on. We're going to put the clip inside. Yours is going to click into place, but ours is just going to you know, it's gonna just go on. We're gonna have to tape ours into place with the clip just to keep it from getting dislodged. But we'll show that off camera. Meanwhile, we're going to take this hose that we tucked behind previously and reconnect it back to this pulley. And that's going to require us to clamp down on that that clamp and bring it back. Okay, so it wasn't super tight when we put it on, so we're going to put this, we put this gasket maker on top of it, the right stuff it's called. And when you put it back in, it should be a bit more tighter. Okay. It feels kind of better. I think if you pulled hard enough, you'd still be able to take it out, but we're going to keep it in there and let it set. For now, we're going to put the hose back, put the clamp back, why is it angled like this? This is such a, it's all the way at the bottom. Okay, and so now what we're going to do is I'm going to move this aside. We're going to flip this pulley down. You'll notice that this bolt here is still stuck in it, so we got to pull that back as we put it into position, then screw it back in. I believe these are number 15, so I'll use my Milwaukee to put them back in. I just got to finagle it to position it. Okay, let's use my Milwaukee. These are 15, right? Okay. All right, so correction, it's actually 12 millimeter. So we'll tighten it from the bottom first. Okay, so I'm going to do an 1/8 turn. Probably with another wrench, because the ratchet on this is pretty, it's not really good. And then just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to go back for an actual ratchet wrench and then tighten it. Okay, so 1/8 turn. Turn. Okay, so that's snug. Now what you need to do is put the serpentine belt back on, which if you did it like us, hopefully you didn't take it off entirely. And so all you should need to do now is just loop it over these two belts. If you did take it off entirely, there are other videos on YouTube on how to put it back on. It looks very difficult, so that's why we try to remove it without moving the serpentine belt too much. Okay, so sorry we couldn't get the serpentine belt on camera, but our advice is, instead of making one of these ridged pulleys, the last pulley to put the belt around, I suggest making it the tensioner, because the tensioner doesn't have like a little like edge groove that you have to go over, and that makes it easier to slip the belt on and align it. So at this point, now what you want to do is you want to insert this bracket that holds this fluid tank, which I have right here. This one's going to be a bit hard because this bolt is going to be kind of like not in any good angle, so you're going to have to use a wobbly bit to insert it. This one should be easy to access. How do I do this while showing you on camera? Yeah, I have to give up some dexterity just so you can see it. Okay. So get a number 10 with a wobbly bit and an extension. Okay. So this one, just because it holds a water tank, it's not super important to torque it properly. So I just say just go for snugness. Okay, so let's do an 1/8 of a turn. Maybe even a 1/16 of a turn, just because I don't want to snap the bolt. Okay, same thing on this one. Okay, let's do an 1/8 of a turn. There we go. So now we can put the water tank back on. And you see this little ridge, this little groove here, goes into these little tabs. Alright, so at this point, it looks like everything is installed properly. You want to check for any loose connections, make sure that everything is properly secured. And then the next step is putting the battery back in. Okay, so we're going to do a separate video on how to install the battery if you're interested, so go check that out. But this is pretty much where we're going to end off the video because I showed you how to install the alternator. So I'm Aiman, and thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and look at other videos on Aiman, especially the other videos in the series of replacing the alternator. And I'll see you there. But for now, I'm Aiman, and signing out. Peace. Hi, I'm Aiman, and welcome back to one of my auto repair videos. In today's video, hey, that's Uncle Lon. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to install the car battery, particularly on a Honda CR-V model 2013-2014, which also applies to 2011 to 2016 models. And so I showed you how to remove the car battery, so if you're interested, go check out that video. But installation is the same as removal, but in reverse.